Where we are now is a point where AI is enhancing collaboration between human creativity and machine efficiency. We can now use AI to automate routine tasks like proofreading, formatting, and ensuring clarity. These tools make writing more acceptable to people of skill levels, democratizing the process and enabling faster content production without sacrificing quality. Now, that is a brief excerpt from a book by Yvonne Ho, who is here with me today. And the book is Fun Ways to Use AI in the Online Classroom, AI powered activities to energize the remote classroom. And Prof H has a lot of, but there it is. There
Yep.
it is right there.
It's quite thick too. So anyway, in this book, I talk about the creative ways in which you can use AI. And so in this book, I write about how you could use AI for creative writing. And then some of you are thinking, oh yeah, you're just going to let people plagiarize and use the book, use ChatGPT for
That's, a lot
the
of people think that.
first thought that goes through people's minds. It's going to kill creativity. People are not going to know how to make up their own stories. And I disagree. I believe that you can use AI to supplement what you write, not as a replacement of what you write. So AI supplements and brainstorms for you if you get stuck. What writer has never gotten stuck in the middle of their story or have a writer's block? That's a writer's nightmare. So let's
I
say
get stuck at the beginning, middle, and end of my writing. So I'm glad you're here today. What are some of those neat techniques, those neat strategies to make it fun?
well, basically, I just use for me. I've used AI to help brainstorm ideas for my fiction novels. I've used AI to, let's say, I want to do a plot twist and I wanted to add a little more deceit into it. So then I would ask AI, how can I put a plot twist to so that there's a little more drama into this really boring scene? Or if I even get stuck and I don't know what to write next, what to continue in the story. And so basically, AI is a great way to brainstorm ideas. It always has all these fresh ideas that I would never think of. And then the reason why I'm writing so many books these days is when I get stuck and I don't know what chapter or what to write about the topic, then I use AI. And then ChatGPT has given me book outlines. And then all I have to do is just fill in the outlines with that. The rest of it I could do with my imagination. So you could, when you write a book, you can ask AI to give a book outline. Then after it gives you all the chapters, then you ask for a chapter outline. From that point on, you got it.
Yeah, so you're using it as an assistant to kind of help you keep the process going, and you're infusing your imagination. So the books aren't written by ChatGPT. It's your brain power, your imagination power that's into all these. That's pretty
Yeah.
amazing. Let's take a step back for a second. What prompted you to even get started with this? Because you teach English, and so a lot of profs that I know may be a little hesitant when it
Oh,
comes to the use of AI.
when I first, actually, I was introduced to AI by somebody that's writing for you already. You know who he is. And he's Dr. Todd West. And I remember Todd was saying to me one day, oh, I love the AI. You could use it for brainstorming. I've been playing around with it. I love it, he said. And then I'm like, no way. AI is cheating. You cannot use AI because then everyone's just going to plagiarize and ask AI for answers. And that's just not good. I don't approve of it. And I ban it from my classes, is what I said to him. And then Todd West said, no, you've got to play around with it and try it out. You'll change your mind. I was like that too until someone, it was like someone else had told him about it. So I started playing around with the AI and I found how much fun I was having because at the time I was doing a project called Science Fiction Around the World. And it was, the research question was, can you write all the different science fiction stories? Do they all have the same themes? From different countries, because in United States, science fiction is mainly about exploration and finding friendly aliens to hang out with and diversity. And then AI, I didn't realize it could analyze it. It said, well, but in China, when they write science fiction, it's about stability and education, because those are the values they have in China about sci-fi. And then Africa, it's all about nature. In Africa, they think all of outer space is alive. And so therefore, if you make a planet angry, it's not the aliens on the planet that's angry, it's the planet and the universe itself is angry, because we're all interconnected. So I found it fascinating that AI helped me analyze how the different values of different countries then coincide with the different sci-fi stories that come out of it.
That is incredibly interesting. So how did that then because I never knew that. I was this many days old when I learned that, as they say. So thank you for that. So how did that speak into your teaching of writing?
Well, so I started playing around with AI, and I was doing these videos about science fiction around the world. And when I got stuck on what to say, I found myself writing video scripts with AI. Then I found myself writing period with AI, and that's how it got, and then it was about this time that LAPU was coming up with its AI policy, and I was just starting my first book. And I noticed that AI is great for idea generation and essay revision. And that coincided exactly with what the AI policy was for LAPU. And so I started writing down in my book, the 3 stages of the writing process is pre-writing, writing, and rewriting. And pre-writing is when you brainstorm ideas. Writing is when you simply write out your rough draft. Rewriting is when you fix your essay. So I found at that point that as I was writing my first book, I should invent this one. This is about academic writing. And so as I was writing my first book, I wrote that you can use AI for the first stage, pre-writing, and for the last stage, rewriting, but not for the middle stage. You cannot have AI write the essay for you, because AI hallucinates its sources. And at that time, there was this lawyer who was fined $5,000 for using fake AI sources. And recently, a lawyer in Australia just did the same thing. And I think the name of that article is Bonehead Lawyer or something like that. That's the name of the article. So that's what I tell my students. You're on mute.
I'm sorry. Let's take a moment and ask the people watching. Have you used AI in the writing process? And Yvonne outlined that it was 3 steps, right?
Yeah, it's pre-writing. That's
Pre-writing.
idea generation. Writing, okay, which is just write your essay, and then rewriting, which is fix all the mistakes.
Fix all. So you use it in steps 1 and 3. And
Correct.
Step 2 is where you use your own voice and you articulate your thoughts
yourself. Because like Anna Mills, she's a AI expert from, I think it's University of Berkeley. Anyway, she said that you have to write your essay yourself so that you suffer the pain of writing. Those are her words. And
wait a minute. Can I add to that for a second? I love that, because the pain of writing, there's a learning theory. So, I'm a learning nerd. So there's a learning theory that's called desirable difficulty. So learning when it's at a desirable level of difficulty, so it's not too simple, it has some pain involved, it sticks better and you learn better. I never connected those.
Isn't that Vygotsky? I forgot what it is.
That was Bjork.
All I know is that you want to learn something that's just a little above what you know, not too far below, boring, not too far high up. So just a little above, so that it's challenging. Yes, and I forget the name of the guy. We studied all about him in applied linguistics. Anyway, it's about teaching language just a little above that person's level, so that person would then learn. That's how the best way to learn a language is.
So that's language acquisition by. Everybody knows the language acquisition. The individual came over language acquisition put it in the chat.
Could be Stephen Krashen. Anyway, so anyway, getting back to AI. So yeah, so if you, and another thing about AI, talking about levels, AI can adapt its level to your level of English. So if you're an ESL student and your English is really, low, then ChatGPT can then adapt to your level of English. Okay. So let's say my English is not that good. Okay, I'm making fun of one of my uncles. And then ChatGPT, the voice mode anyway, will notice, oh, she's got a really low level of English. So then the output would then become low level of English. Then suddenly, if you speak like a professor and you have an advanced level of English, then ChatGPT will output an advanced level of English. You could also prompt ChatGPT to talk in it. Please describe this very difficult concept. What is a thesis statement? And explain it to me as if I'm 5 years old. So what I like about ChatGPT is that it adjusts its level of learning to your level of learning. And 要是我跟你讲中国话, ChatGPT will respond in Chinese, just like I just said something in Chinese. It will respond in Chinese. And it will even respond in Chinese characters, and I don't read Chinese characters, so that's how I know. And so at LAPU, there's a lot of Spanish-speaking students. And so if you speak to AI in Spanish, and let's say you want the explanation in Spanish, it will respond and explain it to you in Spanish. Spark does the same thing.
So when it responds, so if you're on your phone, on your mobile, and you talk to ChatGPT, does it respond via written text or does it talk in
voice mode? Voice mode is just like talking on the phone with a person.
So it speaks Mandarin, Spanish.
Correct. Wow. Yes.
Okay. I knew it could write it, but I didn't think about the speaking part. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I think you can even call ChatGPT. There's a number, 1-800-ChatGPT, and then you can call it as if it's a person. I think Google Gemini had a bunch of commercials about how you can talk to Gemini voice mode as well. So Google Gemini also comes in voice mode on the phone. And so in the commercial, you have all these people who are lonely and then talking to Gemini and telling Gemini all their problems. And of course, talking about lonely, you got to always tell the kids and the teenagers, ChatGPT and chatbots are not real people. We do not want to fall in love with a chatbot because it is not a real person. If a chatbot says, "Come with me, I love you, come home with me," or whatever, you just go, "Oh, it's just pretend." You got to think of it like pretend, like like when you're a little kid, you play pretend. That's okay.
So think
of it seriously.
Right. You can't. So for the purpose of learning English, learning to write, because you teach English 101, 105.
105. 150.
Okay. So as you teach writing, how does that, what exercises do you do with students that help them kind of embrace the technology? Because I know that if professors embrace it, students will embrace it more and they'll use it more ethically because they're not hiding. What do you do?
Okay, so I tell students, first let's start with pre-writing, because currently we're in week 4. And I tell students that if you get stuck on any kind of, your essay topic, you don't know what it is you want to write about. Let's start at the very beginning. And so you could prompt either Spark or ChatGPT and say, give me essay topics for a persuasive essay. Give me essay topics for a definition essay. Give me whatever it is that you have to write. So you start at the very beginning, and then ChatGPT will give you lists and lists of essay topics that you can choose from. And let's say you're a teacher and you teach writing, and then you want to give your students a choice of what essay topics they can write about. And I use it for that, is give me essay topics for the essay 1, problem solution essay. And then ChatGPT, you can even say, give me 50 essay topics for the problem solution illustrative essay. then it generates the output of 50 essay topics of write about a small problem you can solve. And then I would post that in the week 1 forum, and students are very grateful for the choice, and of course you always get the gifted student who says, can I write about something outside of the 50? Then you have someone very smart who can write outside of the box. And I said, of course, those essay topics are just suggestions. Then if, let's say,
Right.
you're brainstorming ideas and you've got your thesis statement, but you get stuck on what the reasons are, because when you write a thesis statement, you have to have a topic, opinion, and reasons. And then those reasons become your body paragraphs. And let's say you get stuck on what the reasons are. In the past, you would Google what the 3 reasons would be, and you would have to read a bunch of articles based on the links that you get in Google. But now you could just ask directly ChatGPT, and you could say, the 3 reasons why a gun control is necessary is what? That would be your prompt. And then you get the 3 reasons, and then you can then do your research about those 3 reasons. So that's another way. And we're still in pre-writing. And then after you get your thesis statement and your you've mind mapped it and your 3 reasons, then you could ask ChatGPT, this would be the prompt, write a 5-paragraph essay outline about why gun control is not necessary.
That's where I love how Spark works.
I know, I was getting to that. Now, the difference between Spark and ChatGPT is that while ChatGPT will just spit out an answer or even write your 5-paragraph essay for you, the big difference with Spark is that Spark will not write your essay for you. It will do the essay generation and the essay revision, like I said before, which is the ethical way to use AI, because Spark is trained and vetted only on the material that's in your class. And so Spark is an AI, virtual AI, that's in every LAPU class. And so your ENGL 101 Spark is not the same as your ENGL 105 Spark, which is different from the ENGL 115 Spark, because each Spark is trained on the syllabus, the training material, the lectures. If there's an OER textbook, open access textbook, it would be based on that as well. And so that's why you can't ask ENGL 101 a psychology 101 question, because it's not trained on it. And what's great about Spark is that because the training material is vetted by the teacher, by the instructional designer, it's not like it's from the World Wide Web. It's similar to like Google Scholar in that way, in which it's more vetted. And so that way students can then ask questions like, how do you do the week 2 assignment? What is a study room? And then if the Spark, which is the name of the virtual tutor, would then access the syllabus that it was trained on, or the OER textbook it was trained on. And I think it has limited knowledge of the internet. It was trained on that.
Yeah, it's trained, as limited knowledge within its own large language model. Yeah.
So most of the information comes from the vetted information, just like if you're using Google LM Notebook, same idea, in which you upload the sources, and then Google LM Notebook will have a AI podcast, but I go off topic. So anyway, so going back to Spark, so that's why when you talk with Spark, also what it has is at the end of every output, it has critical thinking questions. So I'll give an example. So if I said, hi, my name is Mandy. Well, I don't know how to do a thesis statement. I'm having trouble with coming up with a thesis statement for my essay, for instance. Then instead of giving Mandy a thesis statement like ChatGPT would do, Spark would ask probing questions, which would cause the student to think more deeply about the topic. So that Spark would then say, what do you know about a thesis statement? Then the student would say, I think it's something to do with a main idea. And then Spark would say, what exactly is a main idea? Well, it's like the central idea of the essay, isn't it? And so on and so forth. You go back and forth, this interchange, And little by little, the student writes his or her own thesis statement so that it's like talking to a person, a teacher, where it prompts you to write little bits until finally the whole thesis statement is all written out. You see, what are the three parts of the thesis statement? It will ask, and then the student will have to think about it. Oh, I think we have to write topic, opinion, and something else, and reasons, and so on and so forth. So when you interact with Spark, it's more like a conversation. It's an exchange of ideas rather than rather than ChatGPT just spitting out the ideas for you. And so in that way, that's how LAPU guarantees that the student deepens their knowledge of critical thinking skills, memory. And I've even had a student tell me that they love using Spark because they built their essay together. You wouldn't have that with ChatGPT. So that's why I tell students that you can outline. Remember when I said the prompt is write a 5-paragraph outline? Then I would tell students, and that's it. Then now you got to go back to your desk or drawing board, write your entire essay yourself, because Spark hallucinates. Not Spark. I think that Spark also hallucinates because it gets some of its sources. I think the thing about Spark is it hallucinates a lot less than ChatGPT, because if you ask ChatGPT for sources, it will look, it's like the World Wide Web. It's going to look everywhere, whereas Spark will take its information from whatever you vetted from it, you see.
And I love that point, because no matter what AI tool you use, it's your responsibility to make sure it's correct, right? So I can't assume Spark or ChatGPT or anything else if I just copy and paste something and pretend it's mine,
Oh yeah, you end up at the laughing stock like those lawyers that have
lawyers, yeah.
And I think that the one who did it in the United States was quoted as saying, "But I thought everything ChatGPT said was true," and then that was the punchline for all the jokes that came afterwards. Like
that's a meme waiting to happen.
Yes, correct, and that was in the LA Times. In case you're wondering, he got fined $5,000 for that. So if you look up $5,000 lawyer ChatGPT fake cases, you'll be able to put together who this person was. And I even have the actual article for my students that I post in the announcements.
That's amazing. So you have given us a lot of good tips and takeaways for using it. So if anybody wants to say anything in the chat or ask any questions, right now is the time, or tell us how you've used it as well. Just put it in the stream.
I pretty much go over it in my book. Another thing I like about ChatGPT that I have in this book as well, tone. You can use ChatGPT for tone. So if you could say in the prompt, write a friendly, persuasive email about XYZ, or you write a formal, authoritative email about XYZ. And I tell students to do both, so it's about the same email, and they'll see the difference in tone. And Grammarly does the same thing.
I'm laughing because I have a friend who says, okay, this is the email that I'm sending. This is what I want to say. Make it sound kind. or something like that. Make it sound, because they come off a little bit terse, if you will. So it's changed his whole life. It has.
Oh, I had a teacher friend who said that it was the end of a long work day. She was tired and pissed. And so she says it's at that time she uses ChatGPT to write friendly emails for her, because otherwise the emails she was writing all sound like she's all pissed about it, even though she wasn't angry per se. But she was simply tired, and she was tired of having her, putting on the kind face. It's kind of like a mask you put on, and she was tired. She was tired of the mask, and she didn't want her students to be offended, just because she was tired. So ChatGPT allowed her to sound nice and kind, and when she wasn't in a nice, kind mood.
So let's wrap it up with this. What would you suggest, or how would you chat with a faculty member, so such as yourself, who didn't want to use it in the beginning, was kind of leery of it. What tips would you give a faculty member who was a bit leery, especially in the world of writing? What would you say?
I would tell them the same thing Todd West said. You got to play with it. You got to play with it, learn it, see how it can work. Try to integrate it into your workspace. Figure out a way of, let's say, what it is that you don't like to do, and then you like to offload it to ChatGPT. So let's say you don't like to add up numbers, you don't like to write boring emails to people you don't like. So try writing an email to somebody you don't like, and then have ChatGPT write that email in a really nice tone. Especially if you don't really like that person at all, you can't think of anything nice to say about that person. Because you're angry with that person, have a grudge with that person, or someone is a really difficult customer. Then
Right.
ask ChatGPT to do the heavy lifting and make you sound kind and patient and not angry with that customer, and even sound reasonable, because when people are angry, they don't sound reasonable at all. And then let ChatGPT do the heavy, nice lifting, and you got your customer back. And the customer will be like, "Wow, I didn't know you could be so nice. You're always so nasty." And then that person's like, and person won't tell them that they use ChatGPT. They'll just say, "Yes, I'm a nice person." They'll just take the credit.
That's
You know,
hilarious.
and everybody will go, "Wow, you're so patient with me. I was so mean to you because, and then you forgave me. Oh, I think I'm going to go with your business because you forgave me," or whatever. When it was ChatGPT that had actually done the forgiving.
You bring up a great. So our number one job in leadership, business, education is to build authentic relationships. And if you're firing off emails in the heat of the moment, you're not going to build that relationship. You're going to tear it down. So I think it's amazing. So it helps us with our number one responsibility as leaders, just human beings, to build
Build
relationships,
goodwill.
build goodwill. I love that. Well, with that, thank you so much, Yvonne. Appreciate all the great tips. Here's one from Gardena Girl. Gardenia Girl, try using ChatGPT to write an email to someone you don't like. It probably saves a lot of relationships. Hello. Hey, it's great to see you. That's a good point. It will save relationships. So,
Oh,
Yvonne, thank you
yes.
so much. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Okay. Thank you.